Did that work? All right. I think it worked. Let's just see. I don't know if I set up anything right here. View activity, stream. Not tagging stuff. Stop putting me into that. All right, so this is just a off the cuff, and you're going to see how bad I am with my terminology, my word choice. I'm going to stutter really bad just because this is a live stream. At least I hope it's a live stream. But it's a thank you to all of you out there. I don't expect any of you to be watching this live. So if I get even one live viewer, it's pretty miraculous. It is 8 p.m. on a Friday, Eastern Standard Time. This is a random off the cuff live stream for thanking all of you for hitting 25,000 subscribers on this channel. It's been a crazy ride. Hello, Amen. I'm glad people can actually hear me. At least I hope they can hear me. Otherwise, this is going to be a long recording of nothing. So off the cuff, it's just going to be a what have I learned doing all of these side hustles, online side hustles in particular, right? This whole channel has been doing side hustles to try and help me retire early. I say that often. Channel's name is RoadToRetire. So what are we talking about there? Hello, Dooman. Basically, what I've learned is that all of these websites, they go in such heavy cycles. So when I first started doing these online side hustles back in 2017 with Amazon Mechanical Turk, I mean, that was the golden goose. Hello, my cat is going crazy. That was the golden goose at the time. And, you know, I've made over $8,000 on Amazon Mechanical Turk, but nowadays you're lucky to make $5 a day, and that's trying your best making $5 a day on Mechanical Turk, unless you have a lot of closed qualifications that you just can't get anymore. So then we moved on to higher paying stuff that was more recent. The thing that really sparked my channel was Remote Task, because I never heard of that website before. I tried it out and I just gave my honest review of it. You know, when I rebranded this channel to RoadToRetire, I kind of had the mentality that I was going to be doing personal finance videos. And it was just like, hey, you know, I made like $2,000 in 2 months from this website. Here's my review of it. Do I recommend it to you? And then the remote task videos took off way more than I expected. I was expecting to get like 200 views on those. Some of those have gotten over 20,000 views. It's absolutely crazy. But long story short, you know, I'm working on remote task, and you know, that site just went to crap as well. And then they had the whole branch out to Outlier. But if you try to sign up on Outlier and Remote Task at the same time, it just kicks you back. So that site, I don't get any work on anymore. And then it was dataannotation.tech. And dataannotation.tech is what really exploded my channel. Like the Remote Task, it got me from like 6,000 subscribers to like 11,000. I was talking about other crappy side hustles that I did online at the time. And then DAT really exploded my channel. That seemed to be the hottest side hustle at the time. And I saw my videos pop up in Google SEO, search engine optimization. So it's like if you just typed in dataannotation.tech into Google, a lot of times one of my review videos came up, and my biggest profit, my biggest money-making YouTube video was a DAT review video, which isn't on the channel anymore. But that video alone, I remember, made me over $250. It's crazy. And it pretty much exploded. DAT took my channel from like that 11 to 12,000 threshold from remote task videos to like all the way to like 20. And then ever since I had the DAT fiasco where they did a copyright strike against my channel, I had to delete all the videos, and my YouTube earnings and my viewership and subs not so much, but my views have just plummeted ever since then. And the discrepancy has been ridiculous. So my highest earning month on YouTube was $1,600. That was in January of this year, 2024. And then my most recent paycheck that I just got for October, would have been October. My most recent paycheck for October for YouTube was $350. So 1,600 a month to 356. Now, yes, I've took a lot of breaks in between, you know, having a newborn son. I wanted to take full advantage of my generous paternity leave that my company offered, so I didn't make YouTube videos. So, of course, there's a lack of effort on my part putting out less videos, but the DAT crowd was what made this channel. So, let's get back to the topic of online side hustles. So, why are you doing these side hustles in the first place? For me, it was like, oh, retire early. Well, truth of the matter is, if I didn't have a really solid 8 to 5 career, I'm a financial analyst and I have an accounting degree, so I'm not exactly an explosive earnings for my 8 to 5, but I make a good, decent living, especially living in Bumblefuck, Pennsylvania, where I do. So, if I didn't have a really good 8 to 5, I always think to myself, would I actually be doing these online side hustles to try and retire early? Like, if I lost my job, would I immediately start doubling down on stuff like YouTube and go really big into the search engine side-by-side hits on UHRS through CrowdGen? Would I go all in? Would I dedicate my life to that? And maybe I could scrounge up enough where I'm kind of making up that day job income. And truth for me is no. I would immediately start looking for a 8 to 5 job to replace my one that I just lost in this theoretical situation. And the online side hustles, as I look at them, are just gravy. And if you're in a situation like me where you have a decent day job and you're using these type of websites that I talk about, just know that, like, it's not, if you want them to change your life, then your base life and your base earnings really have to be good. So through all these online side hustles, and there's a bunch of side hustles that I never even talked about on this channel that are online based, but I've talked about so many online side hustles on this channel. Data annotation.tech, remote task, Amazon Mechanical Turk, Join Brands, Amazon Creator Connections, the influencer program, CrowdTap, Prolific, Cloud Connect, user testing, Aligner. I did the starter assessment, never heard anything back. That's why there was never another video on that. I did selling on eBay. I know I'm missing stuff that I covered on this channel, but I've done so many online side hustles. And like I said, I've probably doubled that amount in real life that I haven't talked about on this YouTube channel. So the point I'm trying to make is, it's really hard to make a living off these online side hustles, at least the ones that aren't orienting yourself in making a business. If you're doing these side hustles like I do to retire early, but the type of side hustles that are the get paid to side hustle, meaning like you have to do work and you get paid for that specific work. This isn't like a scalable business. You could look at something like the Amazon influencer program is scalable. You make a video and, theoretically you get commissions in perpetuity. But I'm talking about sites like data annotation.tech, where it's like you get paid by the hour, you get paid a certain rate that can't move, and you are doing the work. And in order for you to get paid for an hour's work of work, you have to do an hour's work of work, and there's no other way around it. So how much do you value your time outside of your day job? So something like data annotation.tech, when I was in my prime, something like data annotation.tech was paying $30 an hour at the peak for me at my best project. So $30 an hour is a really good rate, day job or not. So that was something that is absolutely worth my time. So for you have to measure, compared to what you're making. If you're someone out there who's really struggling, I'm talking United States. I don't know how the rest of the world, dollar amount wise is for an average salary. But if you're someone who's making like $25,000 a year, or like you're at like the poverty line in the United States, that number on your online side hustles is going to drastically change. Something like $9 an hour to me, which I get paid on one of my CrowdGen projects. Something like $9 an hour to me is not going to move the needle, and it's like my emergency backup side hustle that I do when I really have nothing else to do. Something like that could be life-changing for someone who's on the poverty line living in Alabama and they have no other options or help. So look, you have to make an assessment of what you're doing here. So let's take perspective on me. Let me get a drink of water. I'm surprised my throat hasn't dried out yet, honestly. So take it from a perspective from me, right? What is the purpose of me doing these online side hustles? Well, for me, it's laziness, I honestly want to say, because I could do a lot better for myself if I try to build a business. Now, yes, this YouTube channel could be considered a business, but I haven't taken the necessary steps to really scale it. I mean, like I said earlier in this video, at the peak, I was making $1,600 a month, and the trend was up and up and up. And if I continued that and I built this channel to like 100K subs and plus, like I could have made a living off this YouTube channel. That's just not reality for what's going to happen with me because I don't put enough effort into it. Maybe that will change down the line. I have to see. But like 98% of my videos are looking at what you're looking at now, which is just a ring light that is blinding me as we speak, talking into a $60 microphone that is propped up with like two cases here because I am 6'5" and have a giraffe neck. And that's the only way I can get the microphone to my face without spending more money for an adjuster or whatnot. So bottom line is, when you look at someone like me, I am taking every single side hustle money and none of it is going to my checking account. I am not seeing any of that for spending money. It is clearly and specifically throwing at debt, getting my debt to zero, which I'm really close to doing. Having zero debt in my life is a huge moment and I can't wait to get there. Get my burn rate to close to zero as possible, then taking all my side hustle money, like I said, not touching the checking account and putting it directly to my dividend or my retirement accounts. Help fund my kid and hopefully, knock on wood, kids in the future, giving them the money that I earn on side hustles. So the point is that if you want to take advantage of these online hustles because you're lazy like me and you have a good base job, you have to look at it from my perspective that I don't need these side hustles at all to survive. That's what it is to me. These are side hustles. These are trying to reach that dream goal, but not necessarily my goal. I want to retire early, but is that reality for me? I hope, but it is still a dream goal. And, all things being equal, if I lost every single side hustle capability that I had, and like say the YouTube channel just got deleted for some dumb reason, and I had zero opportunity to make money and I only had my 8-to-5 job, I would still have a good living. Don't get me wrong. So I'd be happy with that. But with these online side hustles, you have to realize they are so unpredictable, so cyclical. They have really good high moments in which you have to capitalize, which I am at this very moment on UHRS search engine task. I'm getting a buttload right now and I've made like $600 this month after work and I love it. But I've had months where outside of YouTube, and I'm not going to throw in the Amazon influencer program because a lot of people watching this channel can't do it because you need like a following. So I'm not going to count that. So if you throw out YouTube and the AIP, then there's been months where I've only made like $45, $50, and it was like a crappy, Amazon Mechanical Turk survey day, or randomly DAT would give me another project, the original project that I love doing, but I see like maybe once a quarter if I'm lucky, which I have recently, ironically enough. But what I'm saying is that like you can't depend on these at all. And if someone is out there trying to tell you that you can make decent money, like $50 an hour on these type of get paid to sites, it's just simply untrue. Now you might get the rare unicorn where it's like, if you're someone who like just lost your job and you're like, I don't know, a computer programmer or something, and you somehow get into data annotation.tech, you get past that qualification, or you get into a liner and you get their really high paying, like $40 to $60 jobs, and it seems like the work is there, then yeah, you could make a decent living. But I had the experience on data annotation.tech where I made thousands of dollars on that site, and I was super grateful, and I thought this is the best thing ever, just like I thought remote tasks in my first 2 months, all for me to be making $0 in remote tasks for the past year. And then data annotation.tech, like I said, it's like once a quarter I get the OG project. When I first signed on to the site like over a year ago, I'm getting these like, oh, how many people are in this picture and what race do you think they are? They pay like 3 cents a pop, and it's just so mind numbing, and you got to go to make any kind of money. I think I've made like this year from DAT probably like $100. So like this is not much at all. Whatever pops up, I do it just because I like it. But what I'm saying is, when you look at these online side hustles, if anyone tries to tell you that you can make a boatload on them, they're just full of shit. And that's just the truth of the situation. And I think a lot of people came to this channel because they like to hear the reality of these type of sites. And look, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say like, these have been completely useless and blah, blah, blah. Like you can't make a dime. I'm not going to go extreme in the other way saying you will never make a dollar in your life, because here's the reality of the situation. I'm not going to throw in YouTube because that I consider like a brand and a business building scalable opportunity. I'm not going to consider the Amazon influencer program because that's commission based, royalties and perpetuity and stuff that, like 98% of you watching this video could never do because you need a social media following. But if you're talking about the get paid to work sites, okay? So your Amazon Mechanical Turks, DATs, Remote Task, Prolific, Cloud Connect surveys, even crappy ones like CrowdTap, user testing. On these type of online side hustles, which you can do completely from the luxury of your couch, watching a football game or whatever it is that gets you going, I have made like a rough estimate, maybe $14,000 to $15,000. And yeah, it's been since Amazon Mechanical Turk's that big one, making 8K, and it goes all the way back to 2017 on an annual basis. It's not that impressive, but to sit here and say that, I made around $15,000 from these sites, this is where the personal finance side of me really gets into it, because I'm 33, and if I just had that 15K, let's say it was 15K, let's be generous here. If I had that 15K sitting in like a high yield savings account, but I moved it into the stock market at 33, theoretically by the time I would like be able to take it out of a retirement account, like an IRA, if I put that 15K in a retirement account, that could grow theoretically like 10 times, I think, is the number at like my age. So you could be looking at like $150,000, and that is very substantial. So the little stuff can add up. You can make money on these online side hustles, but you will never ever get rich. And unless you do something online that is scalable, it's literally impossible because you only have so many hours in the day, and the pay rate is what the pay rate is. Math is math. You cannot change math. $30 an hour might be a great pay rate, but if you can only work 2 hours a day and get $60 a day, hey, if you work 2 hours a day at a $30 an hour pay rate, 5 days a week, that's $300 a week, $1,200 a month. That's great. But, in reality, how much is that in a year? Like $13,000 or whatever. So you can't like make a living off of it. But if you are taking the strategy that I am, where it's like, none of this is used for like groceries or stuff that you really depend on, then they can be a great avenue for people like me who are lazy and don't want to do the business scaling opportunity. They can be great for that kind of stuff. Paying down debt, especially small debts. Like if you had like a $500 credit card just hanging out there in the ether for a long time now, then take advantage of these kind of sites. Even if you earn like a $20 a month from an Amazon Mechanical Turk and you just put it on top of your minimum credit card payments, that $500 is going to go down pretty darn quick just because you're paying extra each month. You have to think about it that way. I don't want to go all Caleb Hammer on you guys here, but it's just one thing you have to consider. If you really want to make a living off of this stuff, you either have to be in a really low cost of living area, dedicate your entire life to these kind of sites, get really lucky that you get put on a really good project on one of these sites, pray that the site is, good and clear for decades down the road, which I highly, highly doubt any of them will be. And then, yeah, you need pretty much a perfect storm to happen to make a living off these without being in the scalable business type. But, like I said, this is the avenue that I take. I am fortunate enough to be in a position where I have a good career, and it would be stupid of me to try to scale any businesses that would go above and beyond what I can do. Like I'm tired when I'm done working, or if I have to go in the office and it's an hour drive for me, I'm tired. The last thing I want to do is try and build my brand and build a logo, especially when I have a newborn child in the house. What do you think I'd rather do? Like build a stupid business to make my dream goal happen, or, see my son? Okay. The choice is obvious there. So the point is that I'm trying to get, like, what I've learned with all these online side hustles is that there are opportunities. Strike while the iron is hot. You can make money, but how significant that money is to you really depends on your base. If you have a good job, and this is strictly side hustles using for paying down debt or funding investments, funding your retirement, funding your children's expenses and college funds and 527s or whatever the number is for the child savings, whatever it is. Just make sure that you are not pie in the sky here with your expectations on these sites. And I hope that if you watch my channel and you're in the US, I can only speak to the US because I've never lived anywhere else in the world. But, just realize that you can make money out there. The really good opportunities are sparse. And the ones that do pay well, stuff like a data annotation.tech or an Outlier if you're lucky to get in, or an Aligner, it's really hard to get in those sites. A lot of them have rigorous qualification tests that you have to pass if you haven't been grandfathered in. Like I had the DAT, where I got in like the easy way, just doing basic stuff. And nowadays, with remote work becoming so popular, there is just thousands of people flooding to these sites now. Nothing is a secret anymore. It's really hard to get that perfect opportunity through the type of stuff that I do. So let me take a sip. My mouth is drying out. So I hope you realize when you watch someone like me, all of my stuff is authentic because that money is going towards my dream goal. I had like two or $300 days on UHRS this week after work. I just busted my ass, and I'm fortunate enough I can do that from my couch on my Chromebook, and there's not too much mental acumen needed for those projects that I do on UHRS. But $100 a day is the maximum that you can earn in the US market. I hit that mark 3 times, and I'm super grateful of that 300 and what I did with all of that when I will get paid out next month for it. Hopefully, as long as CrowdGen doesn't fold by then, which it could. It's going right into my dividend fund to try and get my monthly burn rate as low as humanly possible. None of it's going to the checking account. And, like I said earlier in the stream, if I was completely reliant on these sites, I would be a nervous wreck. Now, I want to touch briefly because this channel has unintentionally gained an international audience. And, I understand this because, I could talk up here and say like, oh, $9 an hour, like that's a terrible pay rate for like 90% of the country or whatever. But I understand if you're watching this from like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, if you're in one of those countries, Estonia or something, and you're watching this, you're being like $9 an hour USD would change my life. I completely understand it. But the bottom line, and here's another tip just for all of those who are watching this channel, hoping to get that magic pill that low USD for US citizens, but high elsewhere. Most of the time, these websites throttle that pay so low for international clients. They don't want the international workers. They don't believe it's a high targeted market for their AI research, which is what most of these sites are doing that pay well. This has been really jarring to me on the Slack channel that I'm in for CrowdGen, is that the international workers, some of them shared they make like $2 an hour is the pay rate, and they still do the work, but it's just like, it goes to show that these websites do not care about your like minimum wage requirements or what the payment is that you need to be living a sustainable lifestyle. They are all about making you a 1099 worker. You're an independent contractor. They can let go of you for any reason at any time with no good excuse. And that's just the nature of these type of get paid to works that are higher paying, but are extremely volatile, harder to get into, and do not pay the international market well. So it doesn't matter if I could give you hey, remote task pays international workers. I recommend you as a person in Africa go to remote task, because what might be a project that pays $13 an hour for me, they will throttle down to like $3 an hour for you. Now, I don't know if that would be good or not. I have no idea. I'm just pulled a number out of my butt. But the point is, for the international people who watch this channel, I could give you all the stuff that I do, but like for 90% of these websites, they're just going to throttle down the pay anyway, and it's not even going to matter to you. It's going to be scale. So if I say something like $8 an hour in the US sucks, let's take Amazon Mechanical Turk, for example, right? and I say like, oh, a guy made like $5 an hour on Amazon on Mechanical Turk, something really bad for US. Like you could say like a worker in India is going to make like 50 cents an hour then. And, if they want to do that rate, all power to them. But the point I'm trying to make here is it's going to be, punched down into oblivion. It's going to be even worse for international workers. So thank you so much. If you've watched this, if you're watching the live stream, I haven't looked at any comments yet since the beginning. So I'm going to do that right now after I take more water. And thank you so much for getting this channel to 25,000 subscribers. You are all awesome. And even though my YouTube earnings have, completely, I'm still extremely grateful. The fact that I'm even making any money on YouTube, I set up the goal. Originally, when this channel was Dividend Grinder, and I just focused strictly on dividend investing, and dear Lord, I was a horrendous investor back then, just doing the dumbest crap. But, I think at the peak of Dividend Grinder, I was making $200 a month, and I was so grateful for that. And then I took like a 3-year hiatus. Maybe it wasn't that long. Maybe I took like a 1.5 year, 2-year hiatus. I did a podcast, A Spicy Dividend, which was really stupid in hindsight. But, that was just me ranting into the microphone with no real good tidbits in my opinion. But when I rebranded, I was like, let's make personal finance videos. I want to pay the house off as soon as possible. That's the goal with this new channel of Road to Retire. And if I make $100 a month and it grows a little bit from there, it's super. That's awesome. Take advantage of the opportunity and, roll from it, and we'll see what happens. So I was hoping to make $100. And, even now at the lowest parts of the year, making $350 a month roughly now, it's still awesome, right? These efforts aren't like super high quality and super high effort. My main videos that aren't live streams here with me just doing this off the cuff, it takes like 20 minutes of editing. It's nothing crazy. So it's not like I'm pouring hours into this YouTube channel. So the fact that I'm getting money from it, for me personally, it is kind of passive. I know passive income doesn't exist, but it has become passive. Thank you all so much. I'm hoping that down the line we can grow the channel to 50,000. I hope I can pick up steam again. It's just hard being a new parent for the first, a parent for the first time, obviously, if I'm a new parent, but it's hard being a parent for the first time, learning how to be a better father as I go along and still dedicating time to my career, to my other side hustles that I do outside of YouTube, like UHRS, I'm focusing heavily on right now, and then do this YouTube channel, all while not disturbing my newborn son and not pissing off my wife either by just completely ignoring them and doing my stupid little videos here. So that has been my YouTube channel. Now I'm going to get a bottle of water, and then I will look at the comments and see if there's anything that I can address quickly. I know there's not going to be many because it's 8:30 at night. If anyone's watching internationally, it's probably like 1 a.m. there. All right. Oh, look at that, Mara. What a surprise. 1 a.m. here. Student loans, says Greg Smith. Yeah, use it. Absolutely use these online side hustles to help pay off your student loans. But the personal finance nerd in me is going to take tips from the Money Guy Show, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels to watch. Check them out if you're into personal finance. Student loans, if the interest rate, it all depends on what the interest rate is at the end of the day, if it's high to you or whatever. I fortunately got so much luck with my student loans personally. I had to pay for my first year out of college, and it was a cheap in-state school. I think the total amount that I had to pay for my first year was like $12,000. That included room and board. And then I got a full scholarship from my sophomore year on for working through Coca-Cola, ironically enough. But I was one of like very few in the country who got a Coca-Cola sponsored grant to pay for my college, as long as I maintain a 3.5 GPA throughout my college career. So I'm not the smartest of guys. I'm not the most intelligent. So getting a 3.5 was a little bit more tricky for me, even though it was a dinky school, dinky state school. So I was a full-time student, because who would pass up the opportunity to come out of college with very little debt? So sorry you have student loans. I hope the interest rate isn't too bad. And I know there's tons of programs right now that are forbeating and, debt forgiveness with type of student loans. But yeah, use these online side hustles to do that. Ada, hey, I loved. Thank you for loving. Greg, DAT has slowed down significantly the past few months. Yeah, I heard that on. I follow the DAT on Reddit. I follow all the side hustle Reddit forums because that's where a lot of the people go to immediately complain if there's something wrong with the site or give it its props. But I saw that DAT is slowing down. Ironically, for me, who doesn't get projects anymore except for one, it's honestly picked up for me. But I think that's just coincidental. Mara seems like content is the way. Yeah, I mean, YouTube, you can make an absolute killing. And, like I said, if I didn't have the whole channel strike from dataannotation.tech on this channel and I was at 1,600 a month and going up and my subs were skyrocketing and I could talk about that site more, then yeah, who knows? I probably would be making easily over 2,000 a month on YouTube and not putting the highest effort into these videos. It's crazy. I mean, even now, making 350 from old videos, like over a year old now, I'm still making decent money on like remote task videos, and I haven't worked on that site in a year or talked about it. Content is definitely the way to go if you're fortunate enough to get some lightning in a bottle like I did with some viral remote task videos on a small channel. How do you always find the next thing that works? You just got to go for it. I mean, like I said, I do follow Reddit threads to see before I even jump into one. I'll look up like online side hustles on Google. This is literally what I do, and then I sort by date for news, and then like usually a new one will pop up, and one of those was Aligner. So I went to the subreddits of Aligner. I looked at what they were saying. I said, all right, whatever, we'll give it a shot, and you just have to go in and do it. I personally don't know how to really get the next great one, except for me trying it out. Like I heard, this is one of the points. I heard nothing but negative things when I signed up for Appen. And when I initially looked into Appen, I thought it was crap. But truth be told, through the search engine stuff on UHRS that just so happened I went through Appen, now CrowdGen, that has been a huge moneymaker for me. And I'm getting a lot of hits to do on those. And like I said, I've made $600 this month. I made like $300 this week off those. So you just got to do it. And like I said, a lot of people's experiences are going to be way different on these type of online side hustles. So that's how I know it works. You just got to jump in and do it and see what it works. Whoops. Oh, my water. And then Greg says DAT is advertising like crazy, yet the amount of work is pitiful. That has been dataannotation.tech for like 7 months now. Honestly, that's how this channel blew up, is because they just started advertising out the butt like crazy. And then when people would type in dataannotation.tech on Google, my review videos came up, and there you go. So, even though they were definitely the downfall of my channel this year, I wouldn't be anywhere close to 25K subs if it wasn't for their marketing and making my channel popular in the first place. So, double-edged sword talking crap on them. Ada, I know data annotation from your videos. I immediately, after watching your videos, that time they didn't need contributors from my country, but recently they do, and I just finished my test. Can't wait. Hey, good luck. I hope you get it. I hope you're able to get a lot of work on DAT. Like I said, there's some projects there. Like at the peak, I was getting a $30 an hour project that was just 7 months strong, and I could work on as many tasks as I want whenever I want it, and never went off my task board until I was off the project completely. So I hope you get it, Ada. I hope you can make money from it. Mara, pre-recording? Nope. It is live. I'm promised. Yeah, Dooman, it's live. He acknowledged. I wish I had this longer term version. Dooman, thanks so much for your insight. I look forward to your videos. I appreciate that. DIY Semi, I think you're a dividend grinder OG guy. Thank you so much. IO, Greg, I think they want coders mainly. I have no shortage of projects. Even the coders on DAT, like originally, at least what I was reading on Reddit boards on DAT, was that the coders were like super in demand. And like if you had any coding experience and you passed that qualification, you were getting task out the butt. But even that seems to be going in cycles. I saw even the coders on DAT were going through dry spells, but they do seem to get more work consistently. And I think just because of the nature of the beast and that not that many people can work on those tasks at the same time as the general population doing the AI help. So that's my take on the coders. Trap Zero, have you tried counter gambling as another side hustle? I made 20K this year. That is awesome. I actually talked about counter gambling on this channel. I think my title on it was really stupid, and that's why I didn't get any traction. But I have tried that. I went the whole route of like signing up for 20 of them. I saw the spreadsheet of what each pays a day. What is the most optimal way to use that like 50 cents or $1 that you get in free play every single day for the sweepstakes casinos, and then like the best game to use on that particular site. But for me, it was just like, oh man, I do not feel like logging into these 20 sites every day. But, I did do the math on that. And look, you said you made 20K this year. That's awesome. So if you're living proof that you can make some serious money, I just didn't want to focus on that. I wanted to, I'm like ADHD brain here, and I like to focus on a whole bunch of different stuff whenever I feel like focusing on it. So I don't think I could just hunker down and do that. But kudos to you. And yes, I know that is a legit side hustle. Is Appen worthwhile? They've changed real estate. I just made a video on CrowdGen, and I'm talking about it now. Sorry, Wickerbill, that I'm getting to these very late. Andrea 1229 in Australia. Good day, mate. Reddit, super helpful. Yes, it is. Ashley, doing CrowdGen, hoping the pay is updated. Paid twice a month or once. It's paid once. TELUS, I hate TELUS International ever since I did that like 3-hour exam. I said, screw it. I don't care if I get work. I don't want to work for them. But Ashley says, used to do data annotation, but had the drop situation as well. Your channel helped a bunch. Well, I'm glad I was able to help someone out there. If I can help one person, it's awesome. Dog, go to the moon. Yes, sir. I was out of the, Venomous Teddy says, I was out of my country of residence for 2 months. I could not work on Outlier because of their terms of service. Outlier is just remote task with a fancy handkerchief on it. I would get emails about projects, but just before coming back, I stopped getting emails. I don't think you're missing out. I've heard nothing but horrible experiences about Outlier, and it's very far and few between where people would get consistent work on that site. That's just what I've seen. But like I've said in an earlier comment, addressing an earlier comment here, is that you don't know unless you do it. I thought Appen would be absolute terrible, and it's one of my highest making money makers on online side hustles that I've done in my life. So you don't know until you do it, but my experience, Outlier has been crap. What else do we got? Gia? How much do you think you need to save to retire single in the USA? It entirely depends on your area that you live in, the cost of living in your specific area. Someone who lives in the sticks like me in PA is going to be a hell of a lot lower than someone in New York and New Jersey. It also depends on what age you plan on fully retiring, what your burn rate is, and that's why I'm trying to get my burn rate as close to zero as possible by investing in monthly dividends. The answer is so nuanced. This is where personal finance truly is personal. There's people I know who could retire on $1 million at age 50, and then there's some people who would need like $4 million to sustain any kind of lifestyle at 65. So there's so many nuances here. For me personally, it's like I want like my ideal would be like 150K in my monthly dividend account to get my burn rate to zero on all my like recurring monthly expenses paid for. It's like 150K in there, have like 250K in a bridge account that's in between the dividends and the 401k and IRA that I can't pull out until I'm 60. And then I'm hoping down the line, theoretically, if you believe in like the 7 to 10% annualized return rate, I'm hoping to get to like 2 million by the time I'm 60 in both my wife and I's accounts. And like theoretically, we could stop investing in Coast Fire but I don't like believing in that Coast Fire mentality. I don't like trusting the stock market to the point where it's like it's everything. That's why I have such a huge emphasis on getting my debts to zero, because even if my dividends were to go to zero, at least I could say I'm not in any debt. So there are so many different answers to what number you need to retire early. It really is personal there. Freeloading challenge. There's a guy that shows a list of them. Yeah. Kamikaze Cash was really good on counter gambling. $50. Yeah. Trap Zero. I know you can make a good amount of money on the counter gambling. Hello, Kevin from Lakeland, Florida. The last time I've been in Florida was Daytona Beach about 2 years ago. I think that's all the comments I can address. And, I'll try whenever I do a live stream, which is usually like once a year, I'll try to do it at a normal time next time where, it's not Friday night and people don't care about a stupid 6'5", 250-pound YouTuber just talking about doing mechanical Turk for a living. So, hope you enjoyed this live stream. Stellar AI starting pay 25. I'll have to look into that. And then Teddy, what is counter gambling? That's basically all these sweepstakes casinos where they have to, by law, like give you, not by law, whatever. They have to give you like a little bit of cash every day because it's a sweepstakes and you could theoretically not gamble with any real money, but they give you a little bit and then you can turn that every single day by turning that free 50 cents or $1 that they give you, and it adds up fast. And even if they have a minimum requirement of like $100, well, it's going to build up to 100 if you get $1 a day after 100 days, and you could take that and cash it out and just keep going and going. The sweepstakes casinos are always going to give you some free stuff. All right. Yeah, I know. Announce it ahead of time. Well, yeah, honestly, I didn't know I was going to do this because I didn't know my wife was going to leave the house with my son today. So, I'm doing YouTube videos pretty much when there's no one else in the house and I can't piss anyone off. And this will be the last one that I'm signing off. It'll be Dooman. If you could tell your old self one piece of advice about online side hustles, what would it be? That is a great question. For DAT specifically, it would be take every qualification that ever came in so that you could have, endless, I say that in quotes, endless streams of income from that specific site. But if I'm going to say any other piece of advice to my younger self, it is find the highest paying and go all in on it. I think I was too, even like you can see this on my channel, I was too scatterbrained, and it's double-edged swords because on this channel I talk about all the different side hustles in my experience. But in reality, like since I'm not doing too many YouTube videos nowadays, I was just looking at UHRS. It was my highest paying, and I just went balls to the wall because I was getting work on it. And that's what I should be doing. I shouldn't be doing like, I'll earn $20 here. Then maybe I should look to see if there's a better website out there. So my advice to my younger self, besides the DAT one, which is do as many qualifications as possible, my advice would be stay in your high paying lane and don't start to think that the grass is always going to be greener with other side hustles. So hope you enjoyed this random 25,000 subscriber thank you live stream. I'll see everyone when I do a next normal edited, me not stuttering and getting cotton mouth video. So thank you so much for watching.